There's always a discussion about which NFL head coaches are on the hot seat heading into the start of a new season. But what about which players are playing for the future security of their jobs? Whether they are in the last year of their contract or were recently given a massive extension but so far have not played up to that level. There's a good amount of players who are feeling the pressure of needing to perform well or else their futures in the NFL could be in jeopardy. I've compiled a list of 8 guys who fit right into this category, and the first player I'll be talking about is New York Giants quarterback Daniel Jones. Last offseason, Jones signed a 4-year, $160 million contract extension coming off of a solid playoff win over the Minnesota Vikings. However, his performance last season didn't represent the contract that he was given. He struggled with consistency early on and then suffered a season-ending ACL tear in Week 8, leaving many to question the Giants' decision to invest so heavily in him. To make matters more complicated, the Giants essentially chose to pay Jones over star running back Saquon Barkley, who recently signed with the division rival Philadelphia Eagles. There were also reports that the Giants were targeting quarterback Drake May in the draft a couple of months ago, indicating that they might not be fully committed to Jones. Even though the Giants just gave him a 4-year extension, there is an out in his contract after this upcoming season in 2024 if they do decide that they want to cut him. If he doesn't play relative to how he's being paid, the Giants could move on from him as soon as the season ends. The pressure is definitely on for Daniel Jones to prove that he can be the franchise quarterback that the Giants are paying him to be. Next up, I have Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson. Now, there are a lot of off-the-field issues surrounding Watson that have impacted his career over the past few years, but I'm not going to get into any details about that. In March of 2022, the Browns sent the Texans 3 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and 2 fourth-round picks in exchange for Deshaun Watson. Immediately upon trading for him, the Browns gave Watson a 5-year, $230 million fully guaranteed contract extension, which is still the most guaranteed money in a contract in NFL history. Entering his first season with the Browns in 2022, Watson was suspended for the first 11 games of the season due to legal issues as mentioned earlier. By the time he was allowed to play, the Browns' playoff hopes were slim and Watson's play was mediocre for the rest of the season. This past year, Watson didn't look much better for the first half of the season and was forced to have season-ending shoulder injury following a game against the Ravens in Week 12. Unfortunately for him, Watson's best game was probably that win over the Ravens in which he suffered the shoulder injury. What made Watson look even worse was that 39-year-old Joe Flacco took over the starting quarterback role and finished the season 4-1 as well as leading the Browns to a playoff berth. If Watson has another mediocre season or is unable to stay healthy, he'll just be wasting the incredible talent that Cleveland has on its defense. Watson needs to show flashes of the top 5 quarterback that he once was with Houston, or the Browns might consider moving on from him, much like the Broncos just did with Russell Wilson despite their heavy investment. The first non-quarterback that I have on this list is Lions wide receiver Jameson Williams. Williams missed 11 games during his rookie season in 2022, recovering from an ACL injury that he suffered in the national championship game versus Georgia.
Young, who launches to Williams, who's wide open down the field. How, you wonder? He's to the Georgia 35. The main target staying down, though, and gripping his knee.
Safeties are both to the outside and works right down the middle behind the linebackers. Safeties are held to the outside with outside perimeter routes. And then at the end of the play right here, making a cut.
Awkward step. You see him grimace.
Last year, he was suspended for the first 4 games due to gambling violations, and while he showed some flashes of his talent, it hasn't been enough to justify the Lions trading up to draft him with the 12th overall pick in the 2022 draft. Williams totaled only 24 catches all of last season, and that's just not enough considering that he was drafted to be their wide receiver 2 alongside Amon-Ra St. Brown. If Williams doesn't deliver this year, the Lions will likely look for someone else to fill that role in the near future. He is more than just a deep threat receiver, he showed that at Alabama, but he needs to prove that he can consistently do it at the next level. This season is crucial for Williams to show that he is worthy of being paid that second contract when the time comes. The second wide receiver that I have on this list is Quentin Johnston. He's in a unique situation as I wouldn't typically put a second-year player on this list, but given the Chargers' current wide receiver roster, Johnston needs to step up in a big way. Last season, he was widely known for dropping way too many passes, which is something that he absolutely must improve on this year.
Third down. Herbert, there's the pump. Johnston can't pull it in. It hit him in the hands at the 35 of Green Bay.
Well, Valentine's been all over him, sitting right around the sticks or in that 15-yard area, and finally Johnston just runs by him, just fails to track that football. And I mean, everything Justin Herbert went through to get that ball off, to get up in the pocket, get everybody set, and make a play like that, you gotta help your QB.
With several key receivers lost in the offseason in Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, Johnston will be one of Justin Herbert's top options. He needs to show why he was worthy of being a first-round pick, and he must prove that he can be a reliable target and help the Chargers offense in their first season under Jim Harbaugh. The last offensive player on this list is Falcons tight end Kyle Pitts. While Pitts has had an underwhelming career so far, it's not entirely his fault. Pitts has been criminally misused in Atlanta's offense, especially under recently fired head coach Arthur Smith. Drafted 4th overall, Pitts was seen as perhaps the most athletically talented tight end prospect ever, but he hasn't been able to showcase his full potential. With Arthur Smith no longer to blame, Pitts needs to have a productive season to prove that he is worth receiving a second contract from the Falcons, as he is heading into the final year of his current one. He has the talent to be one of the top tight ends in the NFL, and this season is his chance to prove it. The pressure is on for Pitts to finally break out and live up to his draft billing. The first defensive player that I have on this list is Packers cornerback Eric Stokes. Stokes is entering a pivotal season in his NFL career. Drafted at the end of the first round in 2021 to be the starting cornerback opposite Jair Alexander, Stokes has struggled with injuries, playing only 11 games over the past 2 seasons. Similar to Kyle Pitts, Stokes is entering the final year of his rookie contract. He needs to stay healthy and play well this year, or else the Packers will be unlikely to re-sign him. He has shown flashes of his potential, but consistency and durability are key. He needs to prove that he can be a reliable and effective part of the Packers secondary to secure his future with the team. Next up, I have Jacksonville Jaguars edge rusher Travon Walker. Walker was the first overall pick in the 2022 draft, but he simply hasn't played like it. After a mediocre rookie season, Walker showed some improvement last year, but it still hasn't been enough to justify his draft position. Almost everyone unanimously agrees that the Jaguars made a mistake by passing on Aiden Hutchinson in favor of Walker. To be fair, it was known that Walker was going to be a bit of a project coming out of Georgia and that he most likely wouldn't be a dominant edge rusher from day one, but with that being said, he hasn't made as much of an impact as the Jags were hoping for up to this point. He's an athletic freak, but he needs to translate that athleticism into productivity on the field this season. The Jaguars need him to be a game changer on defense, and the pressure is on for Walker to prove that he was worthy of being the first overall pick. Lastly, I have Tyree Wilson, edge rusher for the Las Vegas Raiders. Drafted 7th overall in the 2023 draft, Wilson wasn't that productive last season. He had 29 total tackles, which when you compare that to teammate Max Crosby's 90 total tackles, it's not too impressive for a 7th overall pick.
Max Crosby is so damn angry.
He's not really that angry.
I know, right? He keeps calling everybody little ass boy.
Little ass boy.
Hey, little ass boy.
Little ass boy.
I'm little out here, but not always, you know?
The Raiders defense is going to have to carry the team this year if they want any success, and Wilson needs to step up and consistently make plays alongside Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins for that to happen. Wilson has the talent and the physical tools to be a difference maker, but he needs to show it on the field, which is something that he didn't do at all last year. Alright, that's going to bring an end to this video. I believe that all 8 of these players are under immense pressure heading into the 2024 season, and it'll be fascinating and fun to see how they perform. Let me know down in the comments who you all think is under the most pressure this year. Please don't forget to like and subscribe for more NFL content. I really appreciate it. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.